friends, and welcome again to my tutorials for today. I appreciate you guys so very much. And if you are new to my channel, please hit on that subscribe icon and also touch the bell so you get notifications once I upload. So today we are going to be making a box pleated organza dress without sleeve. So let's just get started. And I shall be using this 2 yards of organza fabric. Alright, I will just go ahead and remove the lower part of our dress, and the length for it is 23. I will just add 2 inches extra for seam allowance and for the fold. Okay, let me just make it 25.5. So I'll be taking half an inch here for the joining, then the 2 inches remaining will be for the fold. So I'm going to mark out 25.5. I'll just measure 25.5 all the way through. And then I'll use my ruler to join the lines. I will also go ahead and cut it out. Alright, I will carefully fold it and put it aside. This is the down part of our dress. Alright, here to the upper part of our box pleat dress. I cut out this fabric here using the largest body measurement, which is the bust. Alright, I folded my fabric into 2. I will also fold again into 2, making it into 4 folds. Now I removed 2 inches for my zip allowance. That is what you have here. For my half length is 15, but I added 1.5 inch extra for seam allowance. I'll be taking half an inch up here, and whatever is left here, I'll be joining the down part to it. Alright, so for my shoulder measurement, it is 15 divided into 2 is 7.5. For my armhole, I will be using 8 inches. Alright, I will just go ahead and mark out. Alright, having done that, my bust measurement is 34 divided into 4 will give us 8.5, which is here. I will also add 2 inches extra for seam allowance, leaving us here. Alright, having done that, I'm also going to measure my waist measurement, which is 30 divided into 4 will give us 7.5. I will be adding 1 inch extra for the dart, so I will mark 8.5, and then 2 inches extra for seam allowance. Alright, so I'll just go ahead and connect the lines. I hope you can see it. I hope you can see it. Alright, for my neckline, I shall be using 3.5 inches. It's going to be a V neck. And then for the volume of the V, I shall be using 7.5 inches. I'll just place my tape on my neckline marking, measure out 7.5. So with my ruler, I will just draw a line from my neckline inches, from my neckline measurement to the 7.5, just like this. So I will just go ahead and cut out my measurement, not forgetting my 1 inch shoulder slope. I'll just draw it to meet my neckline. Alright. Also, let me add, for the back of my neckline, because this is a V-neck, the neckline for the back, the depth of the neck will not be too deep. So I'll be using 2.5 inches for the back neckline. Alright, I'll just go ahead and then cut it out. First, I'm going to cut the back neckline. And then I'll cut my V. right, so I will now go ahead, place it on my lining and cut out the lining also. All right, I want to manipulate this shoulder a little bit. I want to make it narrower. So this is my actual shoulder, but I will just remove 1 inch from it. I will just remove 1 inch because I want it to go inside a little bit. All right, so I will just cut this one off. All right, so for my lining, I'll be using this bridal satin. I'll just go ahead and measure out the length of the lower part of our dress, which is 23. I will not be adding any seam allowance. Also, I will cut it out. This bridal satin is also 2 yards. Okay, so this is the lining for the lower part of our dress. I will just go ahead and cut the lining for the upper part. All right, having cut out my lining, I'll just proceed to line it. Remember, I am using a bridal satin as my lining, which is to say it has a right side and the wrong side. So you be careful the way you place it so that at the end of the day, you don't begin to lose and reline again. All right, this is the wrong side of my lining. This is the right side of my lining. And for my fabric, this is the right side. So I'm placing the right side of my fabric to the wrong side of my lining. The right side of fabric will now slip on top of the wrong side of my lining. I will just go ahead, sew it from the neckline all the way down to the back. I will also sew the shoulder, the armhole. I'm going to close it up because it's a sleeveless gown. I will just sew the armhole all the way down to the waistline measurement. I will do the same thing at the front side. And also for the down part of our dress, I will line it following this procedure, placing my fabric. This is the right side and this is the wrong side. And as for my lining, this is the right side and this is the wrong side. So I'll place my fabric, the right side facing the wrong side. I will just stitch the hemline all the way through. After I do that, and then I'll come back to tell you the next thing I will do. All right, having lined it, as you can see, I will just turn it. You see, the way we placed our lining and our fabric, when I turn it now, the front of my lining will now be showing here. That was the idea. So I'll just turn all of them to the right side, close up this place and this shoulder part, insert my dart. So here I have turned the fabric. I've also inserted my dart. I've also done the same thing at the back panel. And then for the lower part of our dress, I put my lining following the same procedure we used at the upper part, after which I top stitched on top of my lining, as you can see it. After that, the next thing I should do is to just fold in like this. You know, this is the actual length of our dress, excluding half an inch I'll be taking from here. So this is the actual length of our dress. So I'll just fold my lining in like this. Let me spread it out so you understand. This is where our notch is. So I'll just grabbing it here, I'll fold it like this, and then I'll just stitch it all the way up. I will do the same thing on the other side, then turn it over and close the upper part. All right, as you can see, I have lined the lower part of our dress. I hope you can see it. So when I give this place a good press, it will now slip very well. So we'll now begin the joining process. I'm going to go ahead and join the front and the back panel together at the shoulder. I'll just join here. I will also join the other side of the back panel. Alright, having joined it at the shoulder, I'll just go ahead and place my bust and waistline measurement. For the bust measurement, it is 34 divided into 2 will give us 17.5, which is here. And for waist measurement, it is 30 divided into 2 will give us 15. So I'll go ahead and sew along this line. I'll also sew along this line. I hope you. Alright, having joined the front and the back panel together and sewn it according to the body measurement, the next thing is just to join the down part of our dress. I've also given a notch at the center of the top of our dress. As you can see, this is the notch. Also on the lower part, I also gave a notch. Alright, I will just place the lower part against the upper part, making sure that the notch kisses each other, and then I will print using 1.5 inch on both sides. That is 1.5 inch here, 1.5 inch on the other side, but making sure that the two 1.5 are kissing each other like this. I hope you understand it. 1.5 inch here, 1.5 inch on this other side, making sure that the two of them are kissing each other. I hope you can see it. The 1.5 is after I have made my fold like this. So if you measure here, what you will have is 1.5. If you measure this other side, what you will have is 1.5. I'm going to go ahead and print on this notch. I'll print on this bust line darts. I'll print on the side. I'll print at the back of the bust. I will also put one print here. This is the actual waist measurement. There's another notch at the other side of the fabric. So these two are the actual waist measurements. So I'm going to print one facing this side. Let me show you what I mean. So for this one here, I will place my fabric like this. I will print 1.5 like this only. I'm not printing the other side. So at this other side again, I'm going to print 1.5 like this, so that at the end of the day, when you put your zip, this one and the other side will now kiss each other. So I'm going to go ahead and print on top of this dart at the side seam, on top of the bust line dart at the center. I will do the same on the other side. Okay, we are almost done. As you can see, I have inserted our box pleat. You see what I explained earlier? You can see each one corresponds to a stitch line up. This is the center. To some of you that complained I didn't explain it well, I hope you now get it better. You can see it. All right. So because I would want this dress to shoot out a little bit, to be a little bit puffy like a ball dress, I shall be putting this hard net to it. This is 2 inches hard net, and for the width of this net, I will be using 13 inches. So I will just go ahead also and stitch it here, not on top of the upper part, but on top of the lower part. I hope you saw the difference. We'll just print it as I stitch and make sure it contains all the 2 yards of this net, after which I will now use my lining to cover it up. All right, as you can see, I've inserted the net. So the next thing should be to put my lining to cover the net up. Basically, the work of this lining is just to cover this net. Assuming I didn't put net, I won't be putting any lining. All right, so turning my fabric, I will stitch my lining on top of the upper part of my dress. Remember, for the net, I stitched on top of the lower part. So for the lining, I'm going to stitch on top of the upper part of the fabric. So I will just stitch it. As I stitch, I print it a little. And this is also 2 yards of lining. and then I just made the width a little bit longer than the net so it can cover the net, as you can see. So I will just go ahead, stitch my lining on top of the upper part of my dress, and as I stitch, I print it a little all the way round the waistline. All right, now I've covered the net up, so I'll just go ahead and insert my zip. Now from this my half length, I'm going to go down by 7 inches, and at that 7 inches I will start to make my stitches to join the back before adding the zip. So it's going to go like this. This is my 7 inches, so I will just start my stitching here all the way down, after which I will now insert my zip following these two prints. Remember that by the time I insert my zip here and here, these two should kiss each other. All right, having inserted the zip, we are done with our box pleat organza dress. Now look at the zip side. Remember I told you that by the time I put my zip, the two should kiss. You can see it. Now you understand better what I was talking about. Now as it is now, we are done, but I would want to add a little flower at the waistline and then by the two shoulders. So I will just go ahead and place the flowers before I now tack it to the material. Alright, so I shall be making a design with all these flowers. There are no rules here, so I'll just go ahead and randomly place my own flower. You can decide to create your own concept. I'll just use my hand needle to tack them at the areas where I would want them to be. Alright, so here we have it, our organza box pleated dress. I hope you can see how lovely it is. I hope you can see it. If you are yet to subscribe because you are new to my channel, I implore you to please hit that subscribe icon and also touch the bell so that anytime I upload, you get notifications. Thank you guys for watching till the end. Until we get to meet again in my next class, I love you from the bottom of my heart, and please keep your head up. Bye.